Hey everyone, Cynics here, and today I'm going to be doing a digital art recap of 2017. Originally, I hadn't planned on doing this video because I don't have as many fun, simple, quick little speed paintings as I did last year, but people were asking me to do one, so I guess I can take a look back and see what I did this year. I think I was a little bit lazy though. Anyway, starting chronologically, the first image I have from the year is this little page of mechanical industrial design doodles, and I know that I started the year with high hopes that I would be doing tons of industrial design stuff this year and just really building out a nice portfolio of machines and things, but I didn't. Nonetheless, I love being able to look back at these kind of shapely silhouettes like this because I know that I can see a lot of different stuff that I didn't see when I originally made them, which is why it's always good to work very loosely and energetically. It gives a lot of longevity to all these quick little doodle pages. Anyway, I think it took about a whole day before I was right back to just drawing my comfort zone faces. Lots of silly, boxy faces with wide set eyes and very angular noses and things. That's not my typical stuff, but everything else is pretty standard. It was okay. But at the beginning of the year, you're going to see a lot of stuff that was just from YouTube videos because I think most of the art I did this year was for YouTube videos, at least digitally. So this was for my little study in series. I thought it would be a fun new series to start the year, do studies of different topics. I did one episode and then I didn't do that series anymore, so oh well, maybe I'll come back to it someday. So this was the first one I did based on a photo from Google Images, Maps or something. You can see the little reflection of the person over there, right in that area. So that's kind of nice. Back to some sketches. Got some girls. There's going to be lots of girl sketches in this thing. I guess it's time to throw in that disclaimer. You might see some drawn nipples. I'll try to censor out anything too rendered or painterly. We'll just keep it reasonably tasteful for the most part. I hope. Anyway, it looks like I was messing around with a little bit of fashion design, which I definitely don't do enough of. It's one of those things where you get into this academic mindset of doing tons of gestures and anatomy studies, and you forget to have fun with weird costumes and nonsense like that. So it's always good to go back, practice your shape designs, practice some weird costumes. You don't do it enough, I'm sure. After that, let's see, that looks like our first nipple of the whole session. Anyway, more little costumey type designs, messing around a little bit with textile patterns, but also trying to get more exciting, weirder poses. Here's just a quick dry brush painting, not a whole lot going on there. Messing around with a little bit of warm and cool tones, but this one never really got past the early stages. I think I did this on stream. And speaking of streams, here's another thing that was done for my Twitch stream, which is just a little environment. It started as a map crunch thing, just exploring the streets and drawing different reference stuff, but I added some little touches and started messing with the different buildings, adding in details, making it unique. It's okay. That sky's not that great though. Back into some sketching with a little bit of color painting again, and I really like the angles that are going on here. So that's a little bit of fun. You always want to mess with your proportions and things and focus on flow of shapes. Anyway, this was the second painting I did for that A Study In video I mentioned earlier, and this was based on a James Gurney painting, and I guess you can just watch that video if you're really interested in these paintings, but I talk a lot about water and painting stuff. This was a Joseph Zbukvik painting study also for that video. And this was a quick little painting study I did of a photograph I took of a nearby area around my house. But the focus was on how to paint water in a nice impressionistic way and different shortcuts you can use, and just stuff like that. Back to doodling, it looks like I was really placing that strong emphasis on shape design and thumbnailing at the start of the year. So we got some interesting little characters, but I like these guys on the right. They all have their own little mech, it looks like. So we got that chubby guy on the left. It's like a little diamond shape. Chubby guy on the left, and the bottom guy, he's got his own mech. And then that little wizardy looking one has a flying mech, which I actually really like those designs. Those might be worth coming back to someday. We got more mechs and more thumbnails, trying a little bit of surface texture rendering, speed painting different materials. Wasn't feeling that great about them though. Okay, I remember this one. This was done for a Twitch stream, and I was talking about the differences between doing quick little speed painting practices for illustrative purposes and doing quick little speed paintings for concept art purposes. And I think this was the difference. It's just photo bashing. That's the joke, guys. It's fall photo bashing. But nonetheless, it's kind of fun to just make nonsense photo bashes and then add a bunch of weird little sci-fi and fantasy elements. You can tell it's sci-fi because it has really tall towers in the background and a bunch of airships. You can tell it's fantasy because it's got birds and lanterns. It's almost shameful how easy it is to make fun little designs just using photo bashing. Okay, some more doodles. These look like old-timey baseball players. I kind of like the porky one in the background there. He's so round. He's got the nice little stubby legs. Actually, they're all kind of interesting. The one on the right has a very humdrum, kind of boring expression that I kind of like. It kind of feels like it fits the character. The one in the middle just looks mean. And for the record, we're still in January, so I better start speeding this up. Here's our first little paint exploration nonsense. I think this was done for January 24th, my little one layer 24-hour challenge thing that I like to do every year. Yeah, that's where that comes from. I don't know, I don't really like any of the things that came out of this one. Oh, look at that guy. It's everyone's favorite cartoon character, Shrek. Everyone loves Shrek. And got some mediocre industrial design stuff going on. But Shrek seems to enjoy it. And we got a bunch of nose studies. I think this was around the time when my class at LCAD was kicking in. So I was telling everyone to do creature studies, and we were studying different aspects of animal anatomy. So I said it was a good idea to really focus in on just one thing and do a bunch of different animals. So in this case, I was doing all the different noses you can find in Animal Kingdom. And if you do that for every feature, you're going to have a really good visual library when it comes to creature design. And this happens to be my little sticks animation thing that we did. I don't know if any of you remember that, but at the start of the year, I did a little animation challenge where everyone could take part and do their own little stick thing. But the purpose of the video was to teach animation fundamentals, and this one was all about smearing. So this is just demonstrating a bunch of different types of smearing effects. And after that, I think I was showcasing some of the different problems people were having, like if you smear something that's moving slow. And I was going to talk about impact frames a little bit. So here you can see the baseball flying toward us. There's no impact frames on that one. But maybe if you start adding a couple impact frames like this, then it gets a lot more impactful. And you can even go crazy and possibly add a ton of impact frames in color like that. And then it's even more impactful. So it's just kind of fun going over smears and going over impact frames. Don't let animation and illustration be separate. Bring them together. Everyone dabble in everything. Back to creature design. Here's a bunch of different takes on a penguin, I guess. Talking about, I don't know what those are. They've got some evil looking devil penguins in the bottom and my lovely butter Gwyn. So majestic. And I think there's a squid penguin down there too. So I think this was just an example of how to create new creature designs by combining different animals. Hey, we're up to Valentine's Day. So this was my Valentine's Day painting this year. It started as just a heart study, and I was really trying to get some nice speculars, but then I moved it into a strawberry type thing, just experimenting around, making it weird. You can see this guy's just getting his heart ripped out by a nice butt. It happens to all of us. And this was around the time I also did the anatomy quick tips video for shoulders, which was a lot of fun. That was the first one of the year. We did a few different anatomy quick tips this year, but we started off with shoulders, and I had some fun with it anyway. Although YouTube doesn't seem to like it because they refuse to monetize it because apparently my shoulders look too much like boobs. Oh well. Back to some comfort zone doodles with a couple little aspects of that creature design stuff thrown in. I realized I really liked the idea of turning the nose of creatures into the face of the creature. So you can see these creatures basically just have dog noses for faces. And I thought it looked kind of fun. So that was my amazing contribution to the world of creature design. And also apparently a camel with a hump on the bottom. That's not a good design. Don't do that. Meanwhile, here are some weird attempts at drawing pretty girls. It's always been a hit or miss thing for me. I feel like drawing girls either goes horribly bad or sometimes it goes alright. I kind of like how different they always look, and in the top left there you might be able to see some hints at what's coming up next. That's right, it's the paper face tutorial, which happened to be one of my most popular videos of the year, so I'm glad people enjoyed it. It was my own little take on how to draw faces from weird angles, and I think it was fun. So it's always nice to have that reassurance that other people get benefit out of it too. This is a quick patron portrait, and I definitely didn't do enough portraits this year. That's something I was missing out on also, is doing a lot of portraits. So maybe I'll try to do more this next year. Some more quick sketches here. It looks like I was doing some iterations on the same pose, which is always a good thing to try. And we're going right into sexy female drawing time. So I like that hand over there. In fact, that whole arm's kind of nice. And you'd be surprised how much a nice hand can really bring a whole piece together. Even if she doesn't have the right amount of fingers, the hands and the faces are equally super important when it comes to your figures. And some more drawings of female hips and torsos. I was trying to bring in little bits of graphic elements here and there because I think it really helps. Here's a quick sketch of a girl in a hot springs or something. It looks like she was just found out by 3 creepy guys. I don't know, it's kind of fun. And this was around the time of the year where I hit 100k subscribers, and to thank you all, of course I did a little painting of Zelda from Breath of the Wild. But in order to prepare for that, I did a bunch of thumbnails, which I don't normally do, but I tried to do some at least quick little ideas, try to see what works. None of those were that great. Then I did these ones, which obviously are a lot closer to what I actually went with, and there's the finished kind of sketch that I decided to go with. So you can see how it kind of just went with the one on the right. That worked out all right. I painted it in, and a lot of you like this version of the painting better, and I agree. Now that I look back on it, I decided to repaint it into something a little more simple like this, but I guess they both have their own merits. I think I like the hair in this one better, where it's a little more blown out, and there's a little more detail and stuff. This one's a little bit more simplified. If I ever make a print of it, I'll probably go back and try to combine both of them. After that, we got some more map crunch environments. It looks like a couple really weird, big-jawed people. Some fun expressions. I'm glad I was experimenting with expressions a little bit more, because that's always something you need to work on. And, oh, this is going to be a controversial frame. I think don't get too serious about this. I think I was mainly doing this to troll the people in Twitch, but there's a little bit of honesty in it. We were going over different food tiers from around the world. Although I have to say, I was very not nice to the Vietnamese. Vietnamese food I would place much higher. I think it's up there next to Thai food. Let's just say, I've become a big lover of banh mi's and decent pho. But I will say, bad pho and bad banh mi's can get pretty bad pretty fast. But anyway, don't take this too seriously. I know you're all going to comment about how you hate me because I put certain foods so low and certain foods so high. But that's just a fact. Everyone knows British people suck at food, and so do Irish people. And these are just food tiers. This is the UK zone. No seasoning. Just don't worry about it. It's fine. We're just fine. You know, just don't take it seriously. Remember art and tribalism, all that stuff? It's about not taking me too seriously. Okay, I know you're freaking out. Just calm down. We're gonna move on. We're closing this page. There we go. Okay. See, here's our little desert samurai guy from our design theory video on conceptual contrast. That was kind of a fun video. I enjoyed it anyway. We had suburban samurai. He's walking his Shiba Inu through his little Japanese castle suburbia. I don't know what's going on. And then we had our cyber Viking with his little cyber Viking ship and his little Uzis. And of course this little cool textured robot. I kind of like that robot. It looks okay. I don't remember what this page was for. I think this was just when I was doing the designs for the robots. I was just making sure I was practicing my different perspective shapes and my cylinders and my boxes and everything. I don't know. I feel like the left ones are based a little too strongly on different artists. And of course we got our meat tree. You can't forget the meat tree. It wouldn't be a conceptual contrast video without a tree that has armpit hair. That's really a great design. I hated this design. This design sucks, but I guess it's kind of memorable. And moving right along to the most popular video of the year, the hands video. Who would have thunk it? No matter how many videos there are on how to draw hands, you can always put out a new one and get tons of views. So this video came out pretty well, so I'm glad that people actually saw it. So thank you everyone for watching my hands video. And I also did this little animation for it, and even the animation was pretty good. So I'm glad people got to see me doing stuff at least somewhat to my abilities. And moving on from that, there's actually no paintings from the month of May because every time I went to the computer during the month of May, I was doing animating. So there's a ton of animations from May, and if you want to see them, I'm not going to post them all in this video, but just go watch the Anime 2 video because it's just a compilation of different little animations. Back to drawing naked ladies, apparently. I think that skirt on the left is based on a drawing I saw, so I'm taking no credit for that one. But the rest of these, I think, are based on figure drawing type memories. I don't remember. Just kind of fun stuff from imagination on a couple of them. Yeah, these faces weren't that good though. I think I was trying to mess around with the animes again, but it didn't quite work out. That's the real shame. But this was about the time where I started getting ready for Anime Expo again. And in order to do that, I knew I needed to make some new prints, so I was going to make some fun Overwatch characters in different costumes. I actually did a bunch of quick sketches for a lot of them, such as this little Cadet Tracer sketch, just like simple little idea sketches on what the possible poses could be. I had one for Anna and one for, let's see, who else? There's a Diva one in her police outfit, but I don't know. I'm not going to share all that stuff. I'm sure you don't care about that. I decided to go with the Witch Mercy, though, and the painting version. So there's a whole video on that if you want to watch it. I think that was a fun painting. I probably could have done more with the background and stuff, but I ran out of time. It was like crunch time. We were getting ready for Anime Expo, and I always procrastinate way too much because I'm a bad person. After Anime Expo, it was back to painting more realistic looking people, so I did this quick little photo study of this tattooed Japanese girl, and that was a really good study. It was a nice focus on cool and warm tones, which I really like to focus on, and I was happy with the video for that one as well. I don't remember what this was for. This looks like a creepy sketch with some weird monster in some water. I don't know. That's not very exciting. And we're back to Paint Spirations. So you might have seen these in our first little episode of Paint Spiration. Big fat guy with some dancing naked girls. Everyone's always naked in Paint Spiration because it's just easy to paint forms. Some eyeball study type stuff here. That's not something I would normally do, but I think I was just messing around a little bit with different styles, trying to capture something different for the eyelashes especially. I like all of these little puddle shapes. Some more weird sketches. I have no idea what these were about. Just more faces, you know, comfort faces. And back to the paint exploration. I guess it's kind of fun because I didn't get to talk about my paint explorations. They're just music videos, kind of. But this one, it definitely was inspired by like the old Daft Punk videos. Kind of reminded me of that just when I started seeing those colors. It's kind of a fun aesthetic, that 80s anime style. Back to some other faces though. I believe people were asking me to try to capture different expressions because they weren't happy with my dead doll-like girl faces that I kept drawing, like the one in the middle with the long hair. So I tried to draw a bunch of different quick little minor expressions. We got the smug guy in the top, we got the happy people, we got the slightly scared people, the slightly annoyed people, just a little bit of different stuff. And of course that one turned into this painting just randomly, once again, paint exploration. And I like this painting. I like the girl especially, although I really don't like the composition because you can see she has a basic triangular shape to her and the dress behind her is also triangular. So that's not the best composition and it doesn't make her stand out at all. It kind of blends her into the shape behind her. But I do like her face shape, so I still enjoyed it overall. This one, meanwhile, has pretty terrible perspective, so I wasn't that happy about that. Can definitely be reworked, but then again, I don't even know what it is, so who really cares? We had this weird little duck guy, kind of looks like Furby, something like a Furby going quack, a long-necked Furby, I don't know. It's just definitely Furby-like though. And there was this part which I feel like might have been cut from the actual paint exploration video. I don't remember, it was an industrial design, and then it started to turn into some kind of character with teeth. and then it turned back into an industrial design thing, but these are all just weird in-between shapes. Oh well. Eventually, we wound up with this mech guy, and he's okay. I like the values anyway, the colors and the values. It feels very hard-edged in certain parts, such as the leg that's facing toward us. And you know what it's really missing? It's missing big, medium, small. So that's a good segue into that other concept design theory video, because I enjoyed this one especially. Big, medium, small is like one of the most important aspects of design. So I feel like I made the most useful videos this year. I made a lot of ones that I've wanted to make for a long time, the design theory ones especially. It's something that you can never practice enough of, getting your big, medium, small shapes to work together, because it really makes your design stand out. Anyway, I kind of like those little blue, yellow, red shapes. There's some interesting industrial stuff in the middle one. The one on the left is a little off balance with the arms though, so that's kind of disappointing. The arms don't feel like they're quite in the right place. And we had some little boxes and cubes as well, demonstrating big, medium, small. That's a great way to practice, is to just draw simple little boxy shapes and divide them up in appealing ways. So I like that little truck thing. That's probably my favorite on the page. That little yellow truck with the big blue canopy top glass part. I don't know what it is, but I like it. It looks like we're up to August now, and my buddy Jet was really bugging me to start doing more compositional finished images throughout the year instead of waiting till a week before Anime Expo. So I was trying to indulge in that a little bit. I didn't really do it as much as I should, but I started messing around with different compositional ideas on how I could do different layouts for different characters and poses and things like that. It's so valuable, and I don't know why I don't do it more. I don't know why everyone doesn't do it more, but you should. If you start doing compositional thumbnails all the time, you'll become a great artist. I guarantee it. Continuing from that, I think this one was actually kind of inspired by the girl from Game of Thrones. You know, the one whose name I can never remember, the wildling girl. Oh well, the one with the red hair. You know, and Jon Snow when they like each other. Oh well. I don't know why I made her forehead so big. Well, it was just a quick sketch. If I actually finished it, I would fill in the hair. She suffers from male pattern baldness. It's not well known, but if you read the books, you would know that. Up next, we have this painting that I did based on a drawing from a life drawing session, and this was all about trying to show form using only lighting, but I have to blur this one because the boobs they're just too real. This one got taken down from Instagram for being explicit, which is funny to me because it's just a figure drawing painting and there's nothing really explicit going on, but no big deal. Anyway. Ooh, okay, here's a fun one you haven't seen. This is actually a sketch that was done by Jetty Jet, but since he already did a Nier Automata piece, he was like, I'm not gonna do anything with this sketch, and I was like, I can see some potential there, just give it to me. So he let me have the sketch, and I added this background and all these colors, and eventually I was going to turn it into a finished image, and I might still do that, but I haven't got around to it yet. Maybe I'll wait until 2 days before Anime Expo. But that was a kind of a fun image. Just a little bit of 2B fan service. Here is a little bit more paint exploration. Looks like a lot of that leaf brush going on. I just kind of like the idea of eyebrows that were horns. The face and the anatomy, especially around the shoulder area and the clavicle, I don't like the look of that at all. That shoulder that's farther from us, that doesn't even look like it's in the right place. And I think I painted that one into this crazy conductor looking guy, which is definitely an homage to like Fail Hale style paintings with this really dark saturated skin tones and the blue backgrounds. I was just trying to capture some of that vibe. Back to more anatomy quick tips, we have the nose paintings, which were alright. I kind of have some mixed feelings about the quality of some of them, but, you know, maybe it was useful enough. I still don't feel like I'm a nose master. We're working on it. More paint exploration stuff. We got this girl holding a baby dragon. I remember this hand giving me a lot of trouble trying to just quickly do a speed painting of a hand that looked like it was right. It still doesn't quite look right. But anyway, the side of the face looks okay. I kind of like the proportions going on there. And even some of the dragon stuff looks kind of fun. I like the oranges and blues. Once again, one of the more important parts of painting is making sure you get that nice balance of cool and warm tones. So that can always help everything look a little better. And that painting, of course, turned into this one with this lovely green rolling hills, a little camper guy down there. And that turned into this dragon thing with this little Wolverine claws. I don't really like his shape, but that's fine. And it turned into it just kept going into weirder and weirder stuff. I don't know. I really like this paint exploration episode. I can't remember which one is it. Is it number 3 or number 2? It's number 2 or it's number 3. It's one of those. But this was a fun one. It has a lot of good stuff in it. But it turned into this weird horse Pikachu thing with some naked ladies lying around. Because why not? That's what paint exploration always turns into. Weird horse Pikachu with naked ladies. But he's so bored. Nothing gives him satisfaction anymore. He's tired of the naked women. He's looking for a deeper meaning. He's tapping his little hoof against the ripples of the water, contemplating life. It's really a deep piece. It means a lot. I just don't think you can appreciate this piece unless you have a really high IQ. I'm sorry. But it turned into this girl here, and she's in front of an aquarium with some fish, and there's a curtain, and I don't know. There's like a weird circular pattern going on. Let's go back. It started as a girl profile view facing that way, holding some kind of dragon, went to environment, went back to dragon, went back to environment, went back to, I don't know, but it closed on a girl facing the other way. It's really, really, once again, just the deepest of art. Ah, yes, and then in October, I did a little bit of artwork for my friend Ditus's animation. He has a wonderful YouTube channel you should definitely check out. It's very funny storytime stuff. He only gets to put out like one video a month because they take forever. So I'm always like, hey, if you ever want me to do a frame, I'll help. And he usually lets me do one, which is fun because I don't normally get to do weird stuff like that. He let me do this little scary deer looking creature, and then it jumps out and it scares everyone, and it's terrifying. Look at that. Look at that horrible painting. Oh yes, it's nice and creepy. Anyway, that was a fun time. I had fun with that one. I of course followed that up with my own little YouTube popularity nonsense and did my 10 style challenge for self-portrait day. That was a good challenge. I had a lot of fun with this one. It took me a long time to do that many different self-portraits. Well, maybe not that long. But I really liked how it came out, and I think people enjoyed it too. I especially enjoyed that Tanzhui one, which I mentioned in the video itself, but I love that style. It's so much fun to draw in Tanzhui style. Following that, it was back to focusing on drawing pretty girls, the only thing that truly matters in art. And I like some of these. I like that one in the middle, kind of the one with their head slightly tilted. The one in the upper left's pretty nice. I was messing around with Ahmed Aldori's little formula, so he's got the triangle there for the profile views, and then you draw the triangle for the eye. He has a nice video on it. You should check out his channel as well. He's got some good videos on drawing pretty girls. Still messing around with different sizes of different features, but I think overall it does suit my style to have slightly smaller eyes. Even if drawing pretty girls, I feel like drawing the eyes a little bit more realistic or smaller just suits me better. I can't do big eyes, it doesn't work for me. I think my girls are prettiest with the smaller eyes. And apparently everyone has a huge forehead now, so that's my new style choice. Huge foreheads for everyone. And this is just the image from that last. I don't know why I decided to paint that one. There were so many better ones I could have painted than that face in the bottom right. But I decided to paint that one just as a quick little test. I don't know why. It's okay. I was just practicing. Just a quick, probably 20-minute speed paint. Secondary light, though, once again, makes everything 10 times better. It's how do you cheat your way into good art. Here are a bunch of quick speed paint studies from MapCrunch, and all of the ones above that red line are from actual MapCrunch explorations, and everything below the line is taking stuff from above and trying to make up your own stuff. So that bottom row is using palettes from above, but just making up stuff from imagination. And I think they all kind of look somewhat realistic, so I think it works out. You just kind of take the palette from the other stuff, you bring it into the bottom stuff, and it gives you that realistic look even if you're just going weird and wild and making it up as you go. And of course, this page, which was a wonderful experiment. I was going around MapCrunch, and I don't know if you know this, but Google likes to blur out everyone's faces, which is a good idea. But I was just looking at the different faces blurred out and trying to guess what their actual face would look like. And that's where this exercise came from. So it was a little bit of fun, a little bit of caricaturing going on, just trying to have a little bit of extra enjoyment with my map crunching. And here's just a bunch more female body drawings. If I remember correctly though, I think this came from someone asking for a quick tutorial on either Discord or Hangout on how to draw boobs from imagination. So for whatever reason, we all went through and we were trying to draw the best boobs we could from imagination and just going over different ideas on how to shape things and how to make things look natural. I don't know. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, let's move on. Ah yes, okay, here's an example of something I still do now and then, but I very rarely share, and that is doing studies of other artists. It's very valuable, and anytime you see an artist and you're really liking their work, just do a lot of studies of it. So this is by Nurzam, oh man, I can't say this name. Nurjan Bekliev, I think that's close enough. But he always does these wonderful drawings of just girls that are very shapely, and there's so much form shape going on, and they always have these big ankles and everything. I don't know, but his style was very distinctive, and I just wanted to practice it a couple times to see what I could pick up from it. It's a good thing to study, though, so I had fun with that. Those are those two on the left. Obviously, the stuff on the right is just more nonsense, comfort zone stuff. But if you're following me on Twitter, you might notice that I'm always retweeting a bunch of Nurzan Bekliev stuff because it's really good. After this, I think we're going back into more paint exploration. So this is the most recent paint exploration. You've probably seen these if you follow the channel. I don't know, this guy on the left just reminds me of like a horrible New York City stand-up comedian or something. And then we got creepy Kermit the Frog over here with his nipples out. I don't remember what's going on with that. He's got his little sailor outfit. It's like the worst comedy show ever. And then there was Boy in the Well, and the creepy part is you see the little reflection of the people looking down the well at him. Or maybe it's just one guy looking down the well. I don't know, it has a very creepy, weird factor to it. Aliens, Nocturnalia. Once again, this is all just paint exploration stuff done on Twitch, so there's not much thought into any of this. I think I had just been to the zoo recently, and I wanted to paint some owls, or everything just started to look like owls anytime I started painting. Owls are very fun to draw and paint, by the way. I recommend you go draw an owl today. Just whip open that sketchbook and draw an owl. You'll have a good time, I promise. And I still think my favorite part of this paint exploration was this boy here. I don't know, the values just mix so well for some reason. Just sometimes the dry brush gives you like that perfect amount of just mixture between the values. And it felt very smooth and I liked it. It had this kind of Sergei Kolosov level of value control going on. It was just a bunch of happy accidents. It then warped its way into this creepy skull astronaut dictator guy. I don't know what he is. He's got a giant pet dragon or frog or whatever it is. Yeah. And then, of course, Samed Aldori came by and he drew this Oryx. That's not mine. That shouldn't be in my recap. I don't know why that's in here. But I turned that into some other stuff. It turned into this environment. And this is not the best environment, to be honest. I like that there was at least a focus in one area with the brightness of that light area down right in the middle of that valley. The other parts, nothing too spectacular. And then, of course, we have our Yu-Gi-Oh! Casino scene, which also could have been better, but it was just a quick little thing, and it's fun enough. Let's not worry about it too much. Here was, of course, the painting from the grayscale video, and that one came out all right. So it's in here. I blurred it out once again because it has paintings of boobies, not just drawings. So, we're trying to keep it slightly more child friendly. Anyway, that was a fun video to do because I messed it up horribly and had to do a whole new video on color theory just like a few days after. But it was fun, and I like those videos together. And here's just a little metal ore thing. I don't know, just practicing different textures and trying to paint them in a very speedy way and show off different kinds of surfaces. I also did one with wood because that's a fun texture to experiment around with. The trick to making good looking wood is that you never want those lines to cross over. You can have tons of concentric weird shapes, but just to make sure that they don't touch each other and that they don't cross over, and you can make them different thicknesses and just kind of have a nice flow to them. I actually like that little darker ball next to it because it looks more shiny and polished. The bigger one, it's okay, but I don't think the texture is as nice as it could be. Oh boy, we're coming close to the end now. This was for Ditus's latest little Christmas video. He let me paint a frame once again. I just took the chance to make a silly little Lego set. I know none of his fans or my fans are going to get the references at the top, but Dino Riders was my absolute favorite cartoon when I was a little kid. No, I didn't have any of the action figures. I had one of the action figures, the cheapest one, and all of my friends had the very expensive ones. But they were a lot of fun, Dino Riders. You guys don't know what you're missing out on. Anyway, I snuck in some other references at the bottom. You can see my channel there and Ahmed Aldori. And I don't know if you could see it at the bottom, but there was just a hint of Sycra's logo also. And finally, the absolute last image I have for you guys is a couple more mechs. So I wanted to close the year out the same way I started it by doing some mech drawings. Except I actually kind of like these ones. I tried to make them not completely finished, but at least slightly more finished. So I took some silhouettes I did a couple days ago and then cleaned them up and gave them some somewhat cleaner line art. It's not like completely clean, but I kind of like these designs, and it feels like even though I didn't do many mechanical designs this year, I'm just going to pretend that I got better at mechanical designs, and as long as I believe it, then it becomes true. So, behold my amazing mechanical design improvements. Alright, so that's it. There wasn't much new stuff you haven't seen. It was just a lot of going over YouTube stuff, a little bit of sketches here and there, but nothing too crazy. I hope you enjoyed it though. It's always fun to look back at the year and just reminisce over the art and stuff. So thanks for hanging in there with me, and let's do our best in 2018. I hope you guys all have a wonderful new year, and I would like to, of course, give my special ending thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. You guys are continually great, and I'm lucky to have you. See ya, everyone.